So, it's over! Woo! They started this series back in early June, and it ended mid-September. So that's what it's like if you plan on binge watching Breaking Bad, but not really binge, but spread it out over time. If you only watch one episode per day, Monday through Friday, and then near the end it was Monday through Thursday, that'd be about 3 or 4 months, circa that time. But yeah, it's all over. The finale was good, much like the last one, or the last episode of the original. And my only complaint about it was, again, it's the same problem I had throughout the series. I don't think the original had too much score. I mean, I know it did sometimes, but the thing with telenovelas especially, they love to overscore things. It's like, you're supposed to feel sad at this moment. You're supposed to laugh at this moment. And that's what's always annoyed me about telenovelas, which is why I don't really watch much of them. But yeah. So for the last shot, spoilers, when he's lying on the ground, dying away, bleeding. Woo, you know how they played that song, which I can't remember at the top of my head, but it matched the mood perfectly. And I was like, I wonder what they're going to do with this one, because I can't really use that song. I mean, they probably could. Whatever. They'd be like, what do you mean? But I thought they were, at first, it started off silent. I'm like, maybe they're going to go the silent route, which would be actually a nice touch. Just let it sink in. And then, seconds into it, as they're pulling back from the shot, they play this ranchera music that sort of fits it, but I just lost it at that point. I was laughing instead of being like, well, damn. I mean, I was still going, well, damn, Walter. But this time they made me half laugh, but more laugh. Because it was this ranchera song about, that's the game, roughly translated, I hope I remember, but it was like, it's the game of life, blah, 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 that's the game of life. I'm like, okay, that's the game of life for a drug kingpin, sure. Didn't make no mention of that, but oh well. Maybe they could have used, Negri Azul, at least the last part where it's the part where he's he's already dead. They mention in the lyrics, it's but he does, is it going on? I don't remember the words to it, but there's a part where at the end of the lyrics, they say, he just doesn't know he's dead now. He's gonna be dead soon. It's implying yeah, he's gonna be dead after all this. But yeah, that's it. I thought the last episode had their best performances for what they are. I think, yeah, I tolerated the actors in this. They're good. I mean, they're not, if you go in not expecting, with low expectations, basically, they're fine. I've seen worse on telenovelas where they're just screaming maniacally, really hamming it up, and it gets grating. But they got at some points, but that was mostly Walt Jr.'s actor. That was a bad decision. He looked too immature for me. I mean, yeah, he's supposed to be a teen, but they could have picked someone better. Anyways, but yeah, those are my thoughts. And it's over. It's all over. So, I'll probably, after we finished it, my dad's like, oh, they're probably going to do something else. And I told him that they kind of are in the original American. They're doing the Better Call Saul spinoff. That's pre-Walter White, and maybe Jesse Pinkman will show up. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to bring in Saul's story for this too. I wouldn't be surprised, depending how well Better Call Saul turns out. That's the other thing, because spin-off shows can be either good, like Frasier was a spin-off of Seinfeld, I believe, but then they can also be really bad, like Joey off of Friends, spinned off from Friends. And there's, I haven't seen it, but the spin-off of Buffy was Angel. But I think I've heard good things from fans. So they're like, yeah, that was a good spin-off, but it can go either way, really. So hopefully it's on the good end. On the good, tolerable end. I mean, most people liked Saul as a character. And so I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, about the Better Call Saul. I was like, I don't know. My dad's like, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if this version makes a post-Walter White, Jesse, or in this case, Jose story. Because you see him run off, but you don't. He probably went off to Argentina. That's what they imply in this one. Which I still don't know where they sent him to the middle of nowhere. I'm only going to assume it's another part of Colombia where it's almost uninhabitable. And it's not wintry. Judging from the last few episodes. But yeah. So that's my final thoughts on the matter. And as for, I've been thinking about it since they announced they were doing this telenovela. I'm like, okay, what's gonna be next? Because I wouldn't be surprised if they try to, like, Spanishify other shows. I really wish they could do a telenovela spin-off of Mad Men, but do it from the perspective from a Latin American country. Because Mad Men, well, it's like the 60s perspective and all that cultural change and that fun stuff. It's mainly focused on America. And I've always wanted to know what other countries were doing in that same decade where they, I don't know, I mean, there's probably a few things. I mean, they could do that. That'd actually be interesting. They wouldn't be, because it wouldn't make sense necessarily to put, I mean, they're probably, like, they can do, like, anyways, they can do, like, Spanish, either Mexican or Colombian, whatever, like, Latin American, ad execs. Did they allow women in the workplace then? Because they're usually more traditional. Maybe they didn't, because they're, I'd like to see that. There was another one I thought about. Oh crap, what was it? I know Mad Men for sure. I think I just mentioned the Breaking Bad spinoff of Better Call Saul. That could happen depending how well it takes off. But because Mad Men's ending in the next year. So I won't be surprised if near the end they announce, hey, we're doing a Mad Men spinoff. But I hope with that one they actually take it a different route, just for historical accuracy. And it'd be nice to see what else was going on, unless I missed it. Did they already do that? But whatever. But that'd be a good call, I feel. I mean, they've already done, although I wouldn't be surprised if they'd done it before, but Scandal, I heard that they did a telenovela off of it, but I don't know. A lot of telenovelas are like Scandal, or similar, but maybe not as good. Whatever. I think they've also done a Grey's Anatomy spinoff, and if they haven't, they probably will, or have. I want to say they have. They've done Desperate Housewives. Well, Ugly Betty was essentially the American version of other Ugly Bettys. The original Ugly Betty was Colombian, as I said in a previous video, I believe. It's funny, because when Ugly Betty came out in America, when they first started, Mexico had their version of Ugly Betty out at the same time as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if they make another one, because they do that every few years. Remakes are a thing. We can't get rid of them, but people do them anyway. It's even on TV shows. Telenovelas. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I try not to keep this too long. I probably went longer. I wanted to keep it short, but oh well. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Last vlog. Sad. Actually, not really sad, because I usually didn't have much to talk about in these. Because it's like, well, it's just a shot-by-shot remake. But maybe less intense, but still better than the average telenovela. But then again, this was based off a great show to begin with, so yeah. And that's about it. Maybe I'll come back to the show again, like the telenovela. And my dad wants to actually watch the original now, so we'll see how that goes. We might occasionally watch. I'm like, okay, Dad, can watch. He can relive the feels all over again, and I can too. And God, I've had too many television feels in the past year. I need to stop, but I won't.